Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite things that the 2025 knife world has brought to us. 2025 has been a year of proof that the knife market is oversaturated with boring stuff. The funny thing is that it has also produced some of the most interesting and ridiculous things that I have ever seen. That teeter-totter is so funny where we've come. This list does not include like the best value knives of 2025 or the most utilitarian. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to show you guys the most interesting things that have come out in 2025. Now, I do this video twice a year, and the reason is because we're not done yet. Obviously, there's more to go. Winter Blade Co. has been quiet, right? There's a number of companies that have released things that I either haven't seen yet or that nobody has seen yet. So this will change by the end of the year, but I still want to share it with you guys. Expect the price ranges to literally be all over the place. Not everything on this list is available, but I will link everything in the description anyway so that you can at least go look at it. I stuttered there a bit. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me. Let's start off here with an obvious one. Far and away the greatest budget knife of 2025, and honestly, one of the greatest budget knives of all time is the Vosteed Porcupine. What makes it so great? Well, number one, it's $69 giggity, which I'll never get tired of saying. Number two, 14C28N. We've got a beautiful flat ground blade with easy opening, right? It's just a button lock. Who cares? It's actually a button-operated compression lock or a top liner lock, which is a big deal. This locking system is far superior to a button lock, in my opinion, to any liner lock or even frame lock that exists out there because of the way that this engages behind the tang, or well, what we would call the tang, right? The lock face is behind the blade instead of underneath it. This offers much better strength and reliability and much better protection against accidental disengagement. It's kind of like a shrunk down alternate universe Spyderco Shaman. It's just really, really great. We're lucky that Vosteed has invested in the compression lock, which the patent ended on. So every company should be doing that right now. I'm not sure why not everybody's doing it, but for right now, Vosteed is kicking ass because they did. So good job, Vosteed. They're also innovating and doing their own other like V-anchor locking system. Like, I don't know. Vosteed, such an awesome company. If you're new and you haven't looked into Vosteed, use the links in the description and check them out because they're amazing. Hopefully this knife becomes far more available. I think pretty much everybody should own this knife. I also would really like it if you guys did a bigger one, but that's okay. This is great. Really, really good. Moving on here. Speaking of the compression lock, no surprise that Kunwu has been working on their own compression lock. This one, the first to actually be in the same style as Spyderco's. Again, patent ended. I know we're going to have some, I love Spyderco too, guys. I know we're going to have some hardcore Spyderco fanboys getting upset about the way that they did that. Don't, because the patent is ended, right? I mean, like, this is amazing. It's so cool that we can now get, or that we're going to be able to get a multitude of Kunwu knives in a compression lock. This is a huge deal. The vast majority, I feel like, well, some of them had been crossbar locks, but the vast majority of Kunwu knives have been frame locks, which is fine. Kunwu makes a good frame lock. They make a great knife. In a lot of ways, Kunwu captures what we love about Spyderco, not just in terms of quality, but also in terms of the different steels and their optimal HRC ranges. That's really cool. That's the type of stuff that not only enthusiasts and collectors love, but people who actually want to use their knives love, right? So this first one here, the Gringo with compression lock, I think this is a great first example of it. It works really, really well. Feels great. The detent's tuned properly. The strength and reliability of this locking system is very, very good. That's what we want to see. This is awesome. I understand people are like, that knife didn't come out in 2025. Actually, maybe it did. It's the compression lock. So I know I'm cheating a little bit here. There's a couple of these that are more knife elements than knives themselves, but that compression lock is a big deal for Kunwu. There are so many models that are nearly perfect, that are made essentially perfect with this locking system. At least if you're like me and you consider a compression lock to be a superior locking system to a frame lock, smart move by Kunwu. That's awesome. We actually call this the Verta lock. I think jokingly they refer to it as the confession lock, but the Verta lock. I also really love their unique stabilization feature. This pin runs all the way through that compression lock, making it not able to move up and down if you're gonna, put force on the spine or on the blade or whatever. I really like that. I think that's a neat feature. It might not add an insane amount of, reliability, but it is important. It makes this slightly unique, right? Very cool. Moving on here. We have got to talk about the Civivi and Snex Buster FG. But with the stop pin and it touches so close to the deck. Yeah, I mean, like that is, depending on who you are and how often you sharpen, that's anywhere from a complete and total non-issue to the biggest deal in the whole world. I'm kind of like, whatever, like personally, I can understand like people who want to dedicate to using this knife all the time and are going to sharpen it and sharpen it and sharpen it, right? Where that stop pin actually interacts with, you can see it right there, that little mark. It doesn't leave you a lot of room as you continue to remove material back here. Eventually, that's going to become a problem because it does rely on that contact in the closed position, right? Now, you could just stop sharpening. There's a number of different things. Create a sharpening twirl, whatever. I think Snex is going to address this. Either way, this is easily one of the coolest knives to drop in 2025. And I can't remember what they actually ended up charging for this. It was like $100 or something like that. This is a crazy object. And the Super Lock directly from Snex is an extremely durable locking system. It is one of the most, calm down Cold Steel Triadlock fans, it is one of the most reliable locking systems on the market. But it is super fun to manipulate. This is such a gigantic knife. Being able to manipulate this knife with this tab back here is so cool. I love the look of this. Some people are kind of on the fence about all these weird holes and lines, but 14C28N, big, crazy, burly knife with this super lock. I love this. And even if this, a lot of people are going to say this, it's not perfect. The implication here is that Snex is willing to do wacky stuff. And coordinate with a company like Civivi to be able to bring that wacky stuff to the budget knife world. We desperately need more of this. 2025, like I said, has showcased exactly how many minimalist button lock, bug out, whatever, granola ass designs we have seen. No offense to companies who that's their bread and butter, but it's like enough with that look, enough with that basic stuff. We've got enough of it. We want the wacky and the crazy. We want the different stuff. We want the new locking systems. We want the locking systems that have been popular here recently implemented on different designs. That's the way to go. This is a cool product either way. I love it. Moving on here. This is probably, it's tied right now for like my favorite knife to carry ever. This is the Spyderco Sage 6. And they didn't necessarily do any like reinvention of the wheel here, but it is a compression lock that you operate with a button, just like the Vosteed Porcupine here, right? So you get all that cool compression lock magic, but it's a Spyderco and you also get to push a button. On top of that, the Sage series of knives, while it is regularly overshadowed by the Para 3 and Paramilitary and a number of other designs. This is probably, as popular as it is, it's probably the most underrated of the big boys in the Spyderco line. The Sage 6 is incredible. It has kind of a shrunk down Manix 2 blade, and it's got that Para 3 size and ergonomic profile. I just prefer this blade shape a little bit more. I think it's got a little bit better tip durability. Now, people were, kind of upset about S30V and the G10 and carbon fiber laminate. I don't really care. Like, the S30V is great. Spyderco's S30V is incredible, and it's one of only a handful of steels that exist that were actually made for pocket knives. It's a lot of those people will say, why didn't they do something, more interesting? Like S30V is so old and outdated. Why didn't they do something more interesting like 20CV? People don't realize how old 20CV is, right? But I get it, right? it's fine. They made an S90V version that's $300. This was $200. For me, it's just about the most perfect EDC setup that you could ask for. It is so unbelievably easy to manipulate. It's everything that I love about the Sage, but now I get to push a button and still utilize a compression lock. That's cool. Which is better, button-operated compression lock or traditional spine-operated compression lock? I think it comes down to preference, right? But either way, I think this is definitely one of the coolest knives of 2025. This next one here is, I think, not one that people expect to see on this list, but I was really impressed with this. This is another Vosteed. This is the Akita, which utilizes the pivot button-operated V-anchor lock. This is a really cool locking system that utilizes I wonder if we can see in here. It utilizes this system where the tab that locks the knife out is sort of it's like an elongated rectangle that fits into sort of like a puzzle slot. Let me use a flashlight here so we can see inside here if you haven't ever seen this. Right there, that little tab is slipping into a spot underneath the blade that's got that little sort of puzzle cutout. And I believe they still put a little magnet in there to help pull it in and keep it, set in place. This is a very strong locking system. Might actually be stronger than, your typical compression lock, but Vosteed has this system on a number of other knives. The reason why I like the Akita so much, I love the size of it. It's very similar to, that sweet spot zone with a lot of the knives that I like to actually kill. Like, I love huge knives, but this is kind of like right in that same side. It's got the same ergonomic line. It's got the opening hole, right? But it's also, despite being it's a high-end Chinese production knife, right? Super high-quality Chinese production knife. S35VN and aluminum in this case. You get the opening hole and you get the front flipper. You still get that crispy detent. And I think it's like $139. That hits that weird spot. If you constantly have your ears to the ground in the knife world, there's a weird spot from $100 to $150 where most of what's available there, you either pay less and get something that's just better dollar for dollar, or you pay more and get something that's just far more premium in terms of like how it's built and what it's made out of. It's just such a weird zone where there are definitely some superstars, but there aren't a ton of them, not relative to the budget knife world or the high-end knife world, right? This kind of lands, in my opinion, in that spot and really is a superstar. I really like this knife. I checked Vosteed's website right before I made this video, and they do have one variation of it available. I think it's actually this, so you can check it out. Hopefully, they may make more of the Akita. My guess is that they end up making a lot of different models that are similar to the Akita, and they all become equally popular, right? But this is a great knife. Choked up, you do have to watch out for your index finger position. There's a lot of Vosteed knives where I talk about they need some type of safety that keeps that button from disengaging when you are choking up. Because when you're choking up, your index finger lands right on top of that button. And this isn't going to disengage unless you push that button down. But that can happen naturally while you're using it if you're choked up. So this V-anchor locking system probably could benefit from some sort of system that does not allow the button to be pushed all the way down and disengage the lock during use unless you decide to disengage the safety. Outside of that, though, this is a really, really awesome knife. Moving on here. I don't know if this really, I'm going to count it, right? This is the Kershaw Launch 21. Is that right? Is it the 21? I think so. This is essentially the Launch 16 in a drop point, which is what we wanted. The Launch 16 is definitely in my opinion, that was the best Launch Series knife ever. And it was also one of the best dollar for dollar USA made automatic knives. The only issue with it, well, in the beginning, it was released with a serrated edge and a tanto blade. If you love serrations and tantos, great. The vast majority of us prefer a non-serrated edge. Serrations have their place. Most of us, at least a lot of the people watching my channel, do not prefer serrations. So they released the other version of the Launch 16 with no serrations. Great. It's a tanto blade. Can we get a plain edge? Silence, silence, silence. Then they released the 21, which again is the Launch 16 with a plain edge. Perfect. This knife is now perfect. This is the #1 most recommendable USA-made side-opening automatic knife in existence, hands down. Aluminum with G10 inlays. We have nice power, really nice firing power from Kershaw. And then we have a coated CPM M4 blade. Absolutely amazing. And what does this knife come in at? It's like $170 or something like that. This is worth every penny. This is awesome. Easily. I would be shocked to find out that this doesn't end up in, the end of the year video. It really is great. Same with, honestly, a lot of the stuff I've already talked about. It's just extremely cool. This next one is just cool. That's it. It's just wacky. It doesn't really win in any other category. It's just insane. And that's the Crescent Edges Spade. Why am I putting this here? Because I've never seen anything like this. This freaking Ganondorf-looking mini sword thing. It is crazy. I love the blade. It is so cool. I remember seeing the computer renders of this, and I thought, I don't know how he's going to get that done. It's too wacky, But I live for this stuff. I love how this sheathes so perfectly into this carbon fiber. I jokingly called it a butt spacer because that's what it is. Normally it's all back here, but it's meant to house that blade back there. It's perfect. I mean, he even somehow got the blade width and handle width ratios really good so that the handle's not like visually overpowering the blade. That's hard to do. Symmetrical designs in general are very hard to do. This was done so well. It's kind of cool. The pivot, which in a lot of cases really does have to be off center to get the detent and leverage correct with the blade. The show side part of the pivot is centered because the pivot barrel with the threads is off center relative to that captive, show side head, which is really neat that they managed to do that. There's a lot of really crazy work that went on. I mean, yes, people always say it's just a frame lock. Yeah, okay, but the rest of the knife, there's so much that went into this. Not an easy thing to create, even by the standards of 2025. This is the type of knife that will almost certainly be copied, with much cheaper material. Like some gross, weird TikTok shop crap company will make a crappy version of this knife, in like D2 and G10. And it'll lazily sell on the TikTok shop. Like this is the type of thing, right? This knife is already produced in China, but this version is made with titanium, carbon fiber, and M390. So it is a premium product, and you obviously have premium tolerances here. That's going to be the big difference when we're looking at the price range there. But that's I can just see it now. And that there's nothing you can do about that. It's just, it is what it is. But this is such a cool knife. I love it. It's not really practical. Like, it's fun to cut the edges of the boxes. And by the way, this edge right here is not sharp. This is a swedge. Up here, it absolutely is sharp. And obviously on both sides of these tips, definitely. And then here. What's cool about this is that you actually have two tips. You can use the back edge here to cut open packages. You can save that top edge. I don't know what you do, scraper, right? You can use this corner, and then you have this edge, right? So there might be some unique utility in there. I honestly just think it's super cool. I would imagine that he will do another run of these. Moving on here, we have another one from Crescent Edges, and that is the Paladin. This particular one, the Eternal Paladin, with the damaged steel blade. Again, it's just that super high fantasy, almost like World of Warcraft look. This blade is going to be a nightmare to sharpen, and it is not going to offer you any specific utilitarian advantage. This is just a super cool knife. It looks like a gas station knife. Yeah, it does. There's some funny irony about the history of why people say that, but I've over-explained it into the ground, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. The knife definitely does capture that aesthetic intentionally, right? The difference is, of course, is that this is made extremely well with super premium materials, and that's the type of stuff that people, at this end of the knife industry, this end of the knife market, really appreciate. I love this. This is right up my alley. I love the symmetrical designs. This one in particular is interesting, the way that he gets it to be symmetrical in the open position, because again, this has to be slightly off center when you're considering like the leverage and everything. Some people like Brian Nadeau have figured out how to get things absolutely perfectly symmetrical. It heavily depends on the design itself and a number of other elements that are honestly way out of my league. I've never tried to put anything like this together, so I wouldn't know, right? But you use this shorter flipper tab. And you can see here, it looks like this one's jutting and it's going to be off center when you open it up. And you can actually see the unsharpened swedge, or the unsharpened side of this, the swedge poking out here. And then after it's deployed, it is absolutely perfectly symmetrical. That is so cool. I mean, it's because once the blade is in the open position, it lines up perfectly with the frame. And that elongated flipper tab then falls into a position where it is exactly the same on both sides. That is so cool. Even the standard versions of these were so impressive. Really visually stunning. In the same category, we have a knife that I've been waiting on the production version for a long time. And it's the Wicked Dream Designs Nefarious. Specifically, it's not just the way that the entire knife flows, like this really cool, in this case, it's actually a Zerkatai captive pivot end. But not just the way that these angular lines all seem to flow together, it's the fact that the blade shape is actually something that is pretty unique. That's really hard to do in the 2025 knife market. Like, how useful is the blade? It's like, it looks like half a batarang, right? I mean, it's going to have a super sharp, nasty, pretty delicate tip, honestly. This is hollow ground subtly, right? So it is definitely sliced. It would honestly not be something that's fun to sharpen, but it is made unbelievably well, just like everything else on this list. It is an expensive knife. This one's been upgraded with some Zerkatai specialized hardware. Does all the things that you would want a premium knife to do. It just has that absolutely nasty aesthetic. It's doing something unique and fun and different, something that makes it stand out in this this market, right? Which again just has so much boring stuff in it right now. I love stuff like this. This design, and I think the motivation behind it, quite literally came to the designer in a dream, which is cool. I think that's a neat backstory. I don't think, I mean, I've seen like some Spanish tip stuff that I guess is somewhat similar. I'm sure it's not necessarily the absolute first time that this shape has ever occurred on a blade, but it is absolute. I don't care who you are, what you've seen. This is not a common blade shape, and it's fun. It makes this kind of stuff super duper cool. Moving on. There's a lot of stuff that has this aesthetic right now, but the best one, in my opinion, the best comic book style, Borderlands style, hand-painted Cerakote, then clear Cerakote, like that's how they do this. The best version of this is the Blade HQ exclusive blue Pariah made by Heretic. This thing is awesome. Not only because, because again, we've got a lot of stuff with this aesthetic. It's not just this aesthetic. This is really, really cool. I love the comic book. And it's like I said, each one of these is individually hand painted with Cerakote, and then they do a clear Cerakote on top of it. But it's not just that. It's the fact that this thing is so absolutely massive. It's huge. The other stuff that Microtech and Heretic and a number of other companies have done, it's been cool. I like it. This is the coolest one. This is the one, and I'm not the only one that thinks that, because I see these things listed on the secondary market for absolutely stupid numbers, $700-800, stuff like that. It's just awesome. I don't ever plan to sell mine. I love it. It's so easy to manipulate. It's a big, crazy button lock. I think they use 7075 aluminum on this, like the tougher grade. I don't know. It's a big, thick chunk of Magna Cut. Definitely one of the coolest things to come out of 2025. These next two are knives, but it's not the model that makes it interesting. It's another element. This is a Herman Mantis, but the Mantis didn't come out in 2025. What was released in 2025 was the Tesseract laser finish. Now, this finish is literally, in multiple ways, it is an optical illusion. Not just because of the 3D looking cubes, but it also gives the illusion of depth. When I made the video on this knife, despite explaining this, I still had people in the comments going, "Oh, those gaps are going to fill up with debris." There is no depth to this. Your eyes will tell you that there is depth, but there isn't. It is a surface finish. It is a complete and total illusion. It looks like you could drop debris down in there. I'm telling you, it is all but completely and totally smooth. I don't know exactly how they're achieving this. It has to do with not only the 3D effect from the laser in this pattern, but a little bit of subtle anodizing that's creating this illusion of depth. What's so cool about this is that this requires 26 hours under a laser. A lot of people say, oh, it's just a laser finish. They're marking it up for a machine to go beep, beep, boop, bop, beep, brrr. It has costs associated with it, especially when a set of scales requires 26 hours under a laser. This is an expensive finish to do. What utilitarian elements does this add to the knife? Nothing. It's just freaking cool. I've never seen anything like this. This is amazing. I can't imagine what sort of weird secret wizard stuff that Herman Knives is cooking up in the background. This isn't even the only Herman on the list because of stuff that they're doing. I really hope they find a way to do this on a blade. The closest thing that I've seen to this on a blade is that absolutely legendary Sharp by Design Arch Nemesis that I own with the weave pattern on it, which Brian Nadeau won't do anymore because it's too expensive to do. The bits that he has to use is just super expensive. So I love this. I don't know what sort of wizard techniques they're using. I think this is awesome. I'd love to see more of this from Herman, and I'd love to see more of this across the board in the industry. But make no mistake, this is an expensive process. It's not something that's just, time is money. That's the most basic part of this. It's far beyond that, but yeah, absolutely, time is money. It's going to be a costly thing to do. I love this. I think it's so cool. Moving on to the other Herman on this list. This is going to get some eye rolls from people, but we have to talk about the Balinit Mayura coating. Oh, it's rainbow. I hate rainbow. Rainbow makes me so mad. You're missing the point. You're missing the implication. The implication of this, regardless of what you think about rainbow, right? The implication of Balinit Mayura. Number one, I did actually scratch this or try to scratch this on a live stream with this. In fact, we'll go ahead and we'll just do it again, right? Now, fair warning. Number one, I'm going to use the tip of this knife to try to scratch the metal blade of this knife. Some people find that irritating to the ears, right? So warning right now, turn your volume down if you don't like that. Also, cringe warning. This is a $1,000 knife. Some people just don't like to see that. I get it. You can fast forward. This was claimed to be at least as durable and scratch resistant as DLC, which is currently, that's the top dog in the knife world, right? Yeah, so like in my experience here, I can leave some little like light marks here. Can we see that right there? Like you can see some light marks, but the light marks will usually just, they do like so I'm trying to keep this on the screen so that you can see I'm not like moving it. I'll probably get a microfiber cloth would be the better thing to do. It does actually appear, do I have a brand new one? Yeah, what do we got here? Smoky Mountain Knife Force. It doesn't actually appear to be a ridiculously tough coating. DLC also acts like this once you wipe it off, because you're not actually scratching the coating. It's pulverizing the whatever you're using to scratch it. It is like pulverizing it into the blade and leaving little, like this definitely does have like little surface perforations or something like that. So you're sort of grinding that material into an ultra hard surface. Sometimes it takes a sec to actually wipe off, but just like I said here, it actually does appear to resist that completely. I want to look in the camera and make sure that I am showcasing this properly. I have actually been carrying this knife and using it after realizing in that live stream that this was not a joke. We scratched the pen first, and then I scratched the blade. But that's important to do. Now, that's not it. Because Balinit Mayura, which is not, it was not initially intended for knife blades. I think the company, uses it for drill bits, right? It doesn't come in just rainbow. As Herman has showcased with some of their pens, it can be in a solid color. How difficult, how tricky that is to do on a knife blade, right? No idea. The other cool thing is that it can be polished. Here's the pen. This is polished Balinit Mayura. If Herman knives can polish it, and it can be within this spectrum of colors you're seeing here, can be any solid color. That's extremely cool. Maybe you don't like rainbow, but would you like green or blue? Or maybe some sort of like magenta, orange, right? Those are all in there. I think plenty of people would take a solid color, or, you know, maybe a combination. You do like a DLC handle and you do like a green blade that's polished. Come on. So many of us. There's plenty of people who are like, anything that has color in it is gas station, right? Okay, then just buy the black tactical stuff. Buy the DLC stuff, right? They also do that. This is so cool. It's not just cool for Herman knives. I would hope that other companies would utilize this and mess around with it. I think this is just the beginning of what this Balinit Mayura stuff is going to do. I would hope to see some far more scientific testing from channels who like to do that stuff. I'm a design reviewer. I do the basic, simple stuff. I don't do any of that here. But it does appear at least to be very, very scratch resistant. So I think that is just the bee's knees. I think that is so cool. I love this knife. I think it's awesome. I don't mind the rainbow color, but I would love to see some solid color stuff mixed with some other, you know, handle stuff in the future. I mean, geez, can you imagine if they do like the Tesseract finish on a blade and they have this crazy coating on there? I think that is super duper cool. Yes, please do more of this. More experimentation with this awesome coating for sure. Moving on here to a knife that did not release in 2025, but a version of the knife that released, and I have to talk about this because I did not get a chance to talk about this knife in 2024. That is the Piccolo and Mundus knives Alchem, specifically the Genesis version, which I believe this version with the 24 karat gold plated blade did not release until 2025. The Alchem was debuted in 24. If you've never seen this knife, it's insane. You use this little morphing scorpion, robot scorpion tail tab back here to release the, I gotta make sure and keep that tight. And good thing they sent all the tools and everything. But you use that right there to release the blade, which obviously spreads out. And then if you sort of shift the pivot, the blade comes back together and comes completely solid. What's the point of that? Is it even sharp? No, not really. The back end, no. The front end, barely. Probably the standard version of the knife is a little sharper. What is the point? I think the point is very obvious. Piccolo wanted to show off. They wanted to say, look what we're capable of doing. Because they do, while a lot of their stuff is still very expensive and pretty, you know, crazy in terms of design, they do make far less expensive, far more practical knives. In order to get their name out there, it looks like they invested a lot of time and design work into an object that is knife-shaped but not very functional for the purpose of marketing. I think that was a genius idea. I think they know good and well that the vast majority of what is available in the current knife market is just kind of boring, and they did anything but that. Love it or hate it, it got attention. Hardly anybody who pays attention to the knife world has not seen this thing, right? It's in front of everybody's face. This is crazy. This particular version is even more insane with the gold-plated M390 blade and solid titanium Damascus scales. It's absolutely ridiculous. I love this. I'm all about this. It's definitely one of my favorite pieces in my collection, and I can't imagine that a crazier object will exist anytime soon. Moving on here, second to last, we have got to talk about the Custom Knife Factory and Peter Rosenti Snafu 4.0. This is one of my absolute favorites of 2025. I missed my opportunity to pick the last version of this up, and have been kicking myself ever since. So when the pre-order popped up for this guy, I said, yeah, I got to be a part of it. It's definitely overpriced. I don't care. I gotta own it with this beautiful sort of vapor blasted blade, hollow ground. I think these guys are M398. So cool. We got the cool carbon fiber inlays, and look at that cherry on top. It is an integral, but not just this version. Not just this version. They released probably one of the most beautiful knives I have ever seen. This red carbon fiber, this is red shred carbon fiber DLC frame and mirror polished DLC for the blade. This is such an aesthetic knife. I am just blown away that this exists. But I was so happy to add both of these to my collection, despite both of them being hilariously, comically overpriced. Yeah, definitely. Like Peter Rosenti, one of the best aesthetic designers in existence, in my opinion. Coupling with Custom Knife Factory, who it's pretty widely known at this point that a lot of their like on their basic stuff, all of the machining and assembly and all of that is done in China by an OEM that this is not completely and totally confirmed, but like 99.9% rhymes with Schmeven Schmon. Yeah, it's widely known. Business is registered in Slovakia, right? Not Russia, Slovakia, for a few years now. And then this version here is with the special coating, likely the polishing and some of the, when they do special stuff like that, that's the stuff that they do in-house in Slovakia. So this one here, probably a little bit more, which is why it's part of the reason why it costs so much more. But anyways, definitely one of the coolest knives to release in 2025. And finally, the only thing that I think grabbed my attention more aesthetically than the Custom Knife Factory Snafu, I'm not saying I definitely love it more, but one of the must-own knives for so many people in 2024 is going to be the Null Knives Vandal. Now, this is an awesome version of it here with titanium and carbon fiber. Makes me think a lot of the Voodoo. It's very ergonomic. It has that cool look. It's so easy to manipulate, right? It's awesome. This is a Damage Steel version. The launch exclusive version that he did, I don't think I have ever released a video on I'm not saying there's nobody out there who doesn't like this, but one of the things that I told Null when I released the original video of this on TikTok or on Instagram, which I don't know if it got like 15,000 or 20,000 views, right? Which was it's a lot for my Instagram. The comment section had, I think, 110 or 120 comments in it. Not a single negative comment. Now that I say that, it's inviting it. People are going to be, they're going to be contrarian, and then the comments are going, I don't like it. That's fine. You don't have to like it. But the gut reaction of my Instagram followers was to say, that is insane. And it is. This is it's built by Riot, or manufactured by Riot, machined by Riot, however you want to say that. A double polished, I always call this a zero etch. It's a deep etch and then double polished Damage Steel blade. So there is no contrast. You can see it on the inside of we're going to call this the fuller here, right? For lack of a better word. You can see it in there, not polished, and they've etched it. They didn't do the deep etch in here, which is really cool. They polished everything around it. So insane. And then you have the crystal titanium frame. Some of the most beautiful crystal titanium I've ever seen. Extends to the pocket clip, the backspacer. This is a wild knife. I think this is going to be an aesthetic you're going to start seeing more on his knives, but it's also an aesthetic that's going to cause this version of it whenever it dropped. By the time you guys are watching this, maybe it has already dropped. I don't know. It's going to cause this version of it to become like people are going to be stepping over each other or stomping over each other to get this. I'm going to be there too. I think this is a $725 knife, which honestly I think is pretty impressive. I would have expected this to cost a lot more. And then the base version of the knife is like $375 or so. In Vanax, you have the option for Damage Steel, but it's Vanax. This is easily one of my favorite. I cannot imagine that this knife, in particular, this one does not end up in the absolute top 10 of 2025. I love the Vandal. This crazy launch exclusive edition, I think, is that much more impressive. I absolutely love it. I have a lot of stuff to handle in the 2025 knife market that I have not handled yet. Many people will point that out. And again, that's why we do this video at the halfway point. I still haven't handled the Liner Lock XM18 and a number of things that were revealed at Blade Show that I'm hoping to get my hands on. But these are my picks for right now. Like I said, everything that I can link, I will link in the description so that you guys can check it out. But that's going to be it for today. Let me know what you think of my list. Let me know what knives you think I need to check out, what I left off of this list. Please let me know, and I will do my best to get my hands on it, share my thoughts with you guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.